Ian Stepler's video opening if he lived in southeast Louisiana for a winter. Well, hello there, folks. It's Barry's Best Honey. I'm Mike, and I do bees. Welcome back to southeast Louisiana. Yeah, hey, it is a beautiful day. Now, obviously, that was a little funny at the beginning. Ian always burns his fire at the very beginning of those brutal, nasty winters. Anyway, it is not really that hot. It is a beautiful, beautiful day. It's February 11th, and it is 65 degrees. Gorgeous. We get low to mid 30s every morning, and we're getting 65 to 75 every day. You can't ask for better than that. That is some of the most beautiful weather you could really, wish for. So it's a glorious day. Glorious day. Thank the Lord. But, it is February 11th, and I'm going to go do something today that I've been putting off, and I really haven't well, I guess I have been putting it off, but I haven't. And I have my reasons, and I didn't have a good feeling about it, but that was reversing brood chambers. Now, I'll explain a little bit more as to what my reasoning is and what I'm doing and why we do it here, what we've been taught, what we were taught in our club when I was first a beginner, and why we did it, and it makes sense, and why I do it, and some years I didn't do it. And so, speaking of that, what I'm getting ready to tell you, I'm just telling you how I do it. How I do video. Remember, it's not a how-to video. There are plenty out there, and there are very good ones out there. That's just not my calling in the YouTube creator world. I'm just doing a vlog. Just want to show you what I'm doing this time of year. Hey, I mean, for all intents and purposes, beekeeping is back in. We're here. Just going to go and reverse a few boxes. May look in one or two, but I'm not ready to really inspect yet. My assessments come probably another 10, 12 days. Then I'll begin going through last week of February. But hey, we're in it. It's time. The season has begun now, because once I start reversing boxes this late and I begin to start hanging swarm boxes here in the next few days, and then after that we're going to be assessing who's getting split and who's growing and where they're at. Well, we're in it. So guys up north, sorry you guys can't be in yours just yet. Sorry you don't have 65-degree weather and a glorious day to do this, but hey, it's our time. It's our time down here. All right, so what we're going to do today is I'm going to go ahead and reverse brood chambers. You know, when I first started beekeeping, the only thing I really read about them was it was a swarm control method, and it is to an extent at certain times of the year. Of course, all regions are different. We have different time frames, different flows, different weather, different starts, different ends, and ours is a very, very long season. Swarm control and what reversing brood chambers does. In some places, this might work really well deeper into the spring, but for us, we'll still be in winter, and we'll be built up enough to where we have to do it now if we're going to do it at all, because they're going to grow. Now, what's going on with these colonies is these bees have all moved up, and I'll show you what I'm talking about, how I assess it. But they've all moved up, and the bottom is usually empty, nothing but comb. And we reverse the boxes because the inclination of the queen is to move up. Well, hey, they will move down. I've done it. There's years I didn't, several years in a row, I did not rotate boxes, and they've moved down. In other words, when you reverse the boxes, you go ahead and get her moving on up earlier than waiting on her to finish the top, fill it all up, and then move down, because they begin to bring stores in and everything else. So it's just one of those things where you can really get a jump on the season a little bit by maybe a week to 10 days by reversing. That's what we found out, and that's what is suggested in our bee club, to be ready for good robust splits in the beginning of March, going into the middle of March. So that's kind of why we do it. Last year I waited late to slow the bees down. This year I felt like doing the same thing because it worked well, but we've had such a warm winter. I know they're bringing in nectar. I want to go ahead and do it now. It's good swarm control methods, because in some cases different bees or different genetics, or maybe whatever it may be, a variety of bee, they can stay in that top box, build, throw something down on the bottom a little bit, and I've seen swarm cells in February when I didn't reverse. End of February, of course, but earlier than I expected, way earlier. I don't usually plan to see those till mid-March going into April. So that's why, reversing boxes is a swarm control method for us down here with our season. Here's how I do it. Here's what I look for. All right, so of course we have our double brood chambers, and the bees should have moved up. So what I'm looking for is a nest that's all up here, and this is all empty. If my nest is split between the two, I don't mess with it. It's somebody made a comment today that they don't do reversals, they just move the brood back and forth in between the boxes. Essentially the same thing. But if mine are split between the two, don't even mess with it. Now, there's one out there and there's one up north. I'm sure that the brood nest is all down here, and this is full of honey, and there's probably only a couple frames of brood in the top because there was so much honey in it. Those I'll probably pull some honey and, you know, add some extra frames, but and I won't touch those as far as reversing. The only ones that'll get reversed are those that would have a brood nest pretty much all up top. I don't want to split a brood nest that's here, because what am I going to do? I'm going to split everything that's working in that nucleus of the colony and keeping them warm, and all the thermal that's around them. So don't want to do that. So that's what I'm looking for. That's why I do it. And by putting that empty box up top, since their inclination is to move up, as soon as she's done down here, she'll already be ready to move up. She won't have to be pushed down. She won't ease her way down, and it tends to speed them up. Not a lot, but maybe a week or two. So that's why down here, our mentor and teacher in our club told us about reversing brood chambers, having them ready in March, where you'd have 2 full boxes of brood. So there you go. That's my take on it. That's what we do. That's what we've been taught. And again, they will move down on their own. I've let them do it before. It puts them a little bit behind, not a lot. It did slow them down last year, but then I had nectar going into the top box when I did it late. And I might have that same problem now, but it ended up working itself out. It's just that when they start putting nectar in the top box, before you allow them to fill both of them up with brood as they're brooding up, you can have issues. You can have early swarms. So it's kind of tricky by me pushing it till the end. Normally I would have done this last week of January, but it worked out well last year. I'm hoping it's going to work out well this year. All right, folks, here we are. This is a good time to replace bad boxes, but I'm going to be negligent in not doing that. But here we go. Let's open this up. Hey, 2022 season is on, and the first thing we're going to have to do is cut that branch down. It's in the way. Place this lid. Now, I had these hives when I tipped them. I figured out who felt top heavy, and this one felt top heavy, although it's not a ton of bees. So we got a brood nest right here. All right, plenty of honey in it. I'm seeing honey all the way out here, but there's the brood nest. So what I want to do is check to be sure that we don't have a split nest in between the two. Oh yeah, that's heavy. Oh no, that's a nest in a nest, so they're not happy. Good time to clean comb and brood comb. Whoops, I gotta get that picked up. Remember, I saved mine for the most part. And being a warm December, there's a good chance that she just kept on going between boxes. Maybe we'll take a look. Since the season's on us, we started, let's take a look. These are defensive this time of year. They haven't been in them, nobody's been in them for a while. They're defensive because there's not a huge flow going, so that's always a danger to them is robbing. They want to be careful of that. But this box should be pretty much empty. Actually, yeah, see, there's a pollen frame down here. Yeah, there's not much of a nest down here. And that's what we're looking for. See, it's all empty. Completely empty. So basically, they were just hanging out. So they are all in the top, looks like. Let's take another couple frames to be sure. This has got a lot of growing to do. And it just... See how pretty that comb is? It's all empty, it's ready to go, it's ready to be laid in. They've polished it, it's clean. There's a frame of pollen. So their nest was very narrow. We got pollen and pollen. So we're gonna move the pollen to the outside. This is an older frame. We'll move the pollen to the outside. we'll go ahead and reverse this after all. And that's because it is empty, and it looked like there was a brood nest in here, but there wasn't. There was no brood nest. They were just dangling off the bottom. There's stores, so we'll put pollen outside. And we'll do the same with this pollen frame over here. Move it out one. This has a little bit of stores, but it's bone dry. So this will go up top. This will go up top. And that'll be the box reversal. That'll be what we do. I give them some smoke under there because they can get ugly. It's a good time to clean the bottom board up a little bit. Now let's take this little colony and throw them on top or on bottom. Didn't see a ton of beetles, saw a couple, but I killed probably 7 or 8. But they caught beetles over the winter. I'll take that up. I'm gonna put a new one on top. Get this old propolis off. Take this box, simple reversal. Good deal. Take a light one. Put it up top. And give them a beetle trap up top. Just a little canola oil. Mineral oil is good. I don't use any actual bait. Used to put apple cider vinegar in it, but don't really do that much anymore. Let's give them somewhere to drown. Somewhere to drown. There we go. All right, box reversal done on that one. And this is a good time to get some stuff cleaned. I'm not taking all of it off, just where the traps go mainly. A little bit on the edge so it'll fit tighter. I'm done there. I'll put this brick sideways so I know that that's one I reversed. And we can watch progress as it grows. So I was asked about putting one-to-one on and when I was going to do it. I don't do it. I don't do it in the spring. I don't do that jump start. It's not something I do. We've got nectar coming in here. If not now, in the next week or two, we'll have a light flow, most likely. And so that's enough to really keep them going. As long as they still had stores from the winter, they're not going to starve themselves out. That little bit wouldn't support them if they didn't have stores, but it will be enough as a little jumpstart. Now a lot of people say, yeah, well, if you put it on, they won't take it if there's real nectar out there anyway. Not down here. If I put feed on there one-to-one, they will take that and the nectar that's light coming in, and they will absolutely explode on me, and I'll be chasing swarms by mid-March, because we have a small nectar flow. We have basically it'd be like having a jar on top of one. We have a light nectar flow coming in, and that jump starts them for us down here. You gotta remember, our season's very long. If I start, up north, I'm sure it's different because you guys have to jump start yours. I don't have to. April to mid-April, 1st to mid-April is when our privet comes in, if it comes in. If it doesn't, then I'll put some feed buckets on to build them up so they'll peak for the tallow, which is going to be mid-May. So I got until like first week of April right now for these to build, even after splits, with a pretty soon going from light to moderate nectar flow that'll stay going most of the time. We'll watch that, of course. So that's why I won't put one-to-one on them, because I can really peak them out too fast. Now if I see a split that's not coming along good, maybe so, or a swarm that I want to build faster, but swarms, you know them, they're blowing and going anyway, but something like that, then I will feed them. But right now these things are going to build up just fine. No reason to kickstart them. If any feed that I would put on would be some of these that I've got fondant on, or as an emergency feed, I would feed them as we warm up. But right now, no need to, because again, some of the nectar is going to begin coming in. So that's why I won't put one-to-one on in the spring. No reason to jump start my bees. We've got a long season and usually a moderate nectar flow by mid-March. That's enough to really cause swarming if you're not careful. So all right, let's go ahead and see what we can figure out on this one. They seem to already be in the top. We're gonna find out. We'll put that lid over there. Ooh, not a lot of bees in there. I'll go ahead and look at them while we're in. Like I said, we're in the season. Let's look. Let's get an idea of what we got. Don't look like a lot of bees, but this was a late summer swarm. 3 queen began to build up for winter. Ooh, look at the beetles in there. Look, look, look. If bug farmers are watching, look, look, look. So get those beetles there, and then we'll put these on the lid and kill them. Y'all see that? That's some beetles there. Good old pollen frame. Okay. Little brood, there you go. Patch of brood surrounded by pollen and stores on top. Ideal. Same on the other side. Fresh larvae, eggs, everything you're looking for. Just look a little bit deeper and that's it. I see beetle traps in the bottom. I'm gonna have to put some beetle traps in this thing. Alright, let's see. Yep, and there's already emerged brood that has come. She's already backfilled it with eggs. There's the queen right there. Look at there. Flip it over and there she is. Y'all see her? First queen we've seen in 2022 on regular colonies. There she is. This is the last year's queen. Get back in there. Yep, she's laying a storm up. She's doing what a queen's supposed to do. So she is in the top. We want her to get back on this frame, and I'm gonna put her back in. I like to watch her when I put her in, and I'll gently slide this over. I'll take this off. Got a good amount of weight. Let's see what's in the bottom. Fully empty frame. Empty. A little bit of stores left on it. So not a huge colony. That's fine because it's February 11th. And we got brood, so yep. So this one's ready to move up top. The weight I'm feeling is a little bit of honey that's on the edges. That's all I'm feeling. Completely empty. I know the queen's in there, so we're gonna reverse this. I'm gonna give them a trap in the bottom as well. Oh. I left all these in. Don't see a lot of beetles in the bottom. This is a good heavy box. There's plenty of food in here. Let's get one here. This has got a little bit of weight on the right side. I don't know what that's all about. Let's see. Must be some honey on this side. Got honey or something going on over here? Oh yeah, it's a frame of honey over here. And a frame of honey right here. So I do want to move that to the outside. I don't want that all on the inside. Since I'm moving her up. We'll put 2 frames over here. And put 2 frames over here. So we'll put the honey on the outsides for now. It's not dead of winter. They don't have to be centered now. In the winter time, we'd want them centered. Don't worry about that right now. Since I deal with beetles so much down here, folks, what I do, it's just second nature for me to look and see how much space I'm leaving in them. And it's just one of my management tools that I do. I'm always seeing what am I leaving them for space and how many, per how many bees there are. Not that I count them, of course, but you know what I mean. I always look, because Everybody's always talking about the beetles, and I'm not putting guardians on. I'm not doing all that. I don't believe the guardians work personally. So I've seen similar devices with edges they said the beetles couldn't get over, and didn't work out here. So I don't buy them necessarily. I'm not going to buy them. So my strategy is what Jamie Ellis from University of Florida says: strong colonies. And guys, I look for space. When I said, like, I got a lot of space and there were a lot of beetles, but there's not a ton of honey up here. As the summer goes and they begin to really pick up on the beetle count, I start looking at space. It's just something it's just in me from being burned enough with beetles. If there's too much space, they get reduced. I don't care what time of the year it is. I'd rather keep the bees and lose a honey crop off of a colony than lose the bees to beetles. There you go. It felt light on top, but guess what? I split the brood nest anyway, didn't even realize it. The brood nest, there's 3 frames on the edge that were, they've got brood in them. To there. So, can't just go by feel. I should have popped that other side, but it doesn't matter. It's going to be all right. It's not ideal, but I did exactly what I said I don't want to do. But there's not a lot of frames. There's 3, so I think it'll be okay. I know it will. And here you go. I don't know if y'all can catch it in the sun, but there you go, nectar. So we definitely got some nectar coming already. This is full of pollen, needs to go to the outside anyway. Some more stores, some more nectar. So we'll open up the middle of it. There's 2 frames of brood in there, so 1 frame broke, I gotta replace it. But there you go. What I didn't split an entire brood nest. I split a couple frames. It's not gonna be the end of the world. But that's why I was checking them, because I'm late. So a prime example, she definitely will move to the bottom. Here you go. There's eggs. There she is right there. And this is the bottom of the brood chamber. So while it's empty, she's already down here. She's going to start moving across. We're going to leave this one alone. Not going to rotate it. We're not busting the brood nest, but I'm not going to mess up their configuration with the cold morning still. There's no reason to. She knows what she's doing. I'm not going to speed them up anymore. I mean, shoot, she's filling the bottom box already. The top is full of stores and brood there, so there you go. Oh man. Same thing here, I think, folks. And a brood frame. Almost missed her. It's one of those dark queens from out in the northern area. See her? So almost missed her. So she's moved down as well. I'm gonna put her back in. She's down south. They're covering these, so that means there's brood going in and polishing. They're polishing a lot. So we're all right. So the situation with this one is, okay, she didn't move down. She's probably never been down. They've eaten through this honey and they're backfilling it with nectar. It had a lot of honey in the top. That's where they've eaten it out of. And they're backfilling with nectar. So this one is going to be critical to get some drawn comb in the top. So I need to mark this one from drawn comb. So I'm already doing assessments a week to 2 weeks early. And it looks like I'm going to have to start going through colonies in a few days because we don't want them to continue to fill the top with nectar and have nowhere for her to move up. She's got to be able to move up. So we're going to have to give her some room to move up. Same thing. Nectar going in where they ate the honey. And then the rest is honey. Same here. All right, so this one needs space. We'll be getting a box of drawn comb and getting this one ready to go. See, this one is a classic example of what I'm doing. This is the way, and it's because it's weak. It's got zero, not even any bees, so you know there's no brood. No reason to even go through this because there's nothing covering the frames. I mean, there's no brood, no polishing, no nothing. This is a new box, so I'm not worried about culling any comb out of here. This box is, these frames are only about 2 years. So we're gonna just switch these real easy. The top box, on the other hand, is nice and heavy. So this is the classic reversal for me, usually in January. It's got a little bit of honey on the edge. You can feel that one frame right there that's got honey, but that's it. Good and heavy, plenty of food. Plenty of food. Got a hole in the box, a little rot in there. So the other ones are growing good. This one's just behind. It was weak going into winter, obviously, so it's weak coming out. But, hey, spring is around the corner. Alright guys, there you go, simple reversals. What we do down here in our club, that we learned in our club I should say, what we taught for a long time, kind of getting away from it a little bit with the vertical splits. We started doing double screen divider splits. When I first started, they were doing them in that club, when I first got to that club 10 years ago, and that's just how they've done them. And the part of that beginning of that vertical double screen divider split that we would do, and they were walkaway splits where they had brood breaks and all, was the reverse boxes in January, and that was a timing thing. 6 weeks to your split from the time you reverse. And what that does is basically gives time for the rest of the brood that you've put on the bottom now to get laid in by the queen, her to move on up. Meantime, that's coming out. From the time she moves up, 21 more days. So basically 3 weeks, 3 weeks, and then split. So what it is, it gives you 6 weeks worth of bees, and your first emergence comes out. Of course, then you start getting bees every day after that, and it gives you 2 full boxes of bees by around the 10th of March, and off you go with your splits. That's how we used to do it. I backed off of it a little last year, and I definitely waited too long this year, but I just didn't want to do them early on. I'm wanting to slow my bees down because you're constantly chasing those bees to keep them from swarming, because we're such a long season, we get started so early. We've got a light nectar flow going on right now, not a lot, but enough to where they're putting it in there to where you can get them all split and everything else, but by mid-April you're chasing them again, and you still got 4 weeks to go before the main flow, so you can peak so early here. So my goal with not doing it early this year or last year was to slow them down. But anyway, it didn't matter because you see what I saw out there. One true flip-flop, and that was a weak colony. I did another one, 3 of them, however many I did. You saw them. We have stores that were eating, they're putting in some nectar in the top, and she never moved out of the bottom. Some that we did reverse, she'll move up, so it's on. It's on. Alright guys, well, that's going to be it for today. I got to go look at those nukes back there. I'm going to make a separate video because we don't have time in this one. I sure appreciate everybody watching. I appreciate all you guys' support. And look, if you like the video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you don't mind, of course. And don't forget to share this video with friends, family, anybody that just enjoys watching bees. It's Barry's Best Honey. I'm Mike, and I do bees. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day, and may Lord God bless you. We'll see y'all later.